And so we say this to you, Mayor, Governor, President. If you think that they're that powerful that you have to acquiesce and answer to them over us, then you tell them to vote for you these next elections.
That's right.
You tell them to support your Democratic National Convention. And we're going to show you how we feel about the Democratic National Convention.
Turn it up.
Thank you.
If you think you're going to have a peaceful Democratic National Convention in the city of Chicago while our people are starving,
That's right.
stay tuned.
As you can see, the Democratic Party is in turmoil in major cities like Chicago, New York City, Philadelphia. Black people are disgruntled and hurt. And the sad part is it takes black people all the time. Like, you got to be pushed to the wall, damn near foot on your neck for you to realize and then try to start doing something about it. We should have been complaining about the Democratic Party for years. They've been disrespecting the black community. But in Chicago, they have the Democratic National Convention coming up. And you can see the people are talking. They're speaking out. They're disgruntled. They're saying that, listen, you want to acquiesce to them and not the people that put you in office, we're going to make you pay for it. We definitely going to make you pay for it. So we know the Democratic National Convention is when you get the person that's going to run on the Democratic ticket against the Republicans. And a lot of black people are saying that they're going to the other side, what they would call the dark side. But let's check out what Chicago is saying about the Democratic National Convention. We'll come right back.
We're less than 6 months from the Democratic National Convention taking over parts of the city. And now we're learning more on the security that'll be in place.
On behalf of our city, I am immensely proud and thrilled to welcome this event back to our city. And I'm confident about its success.
Chicago Police Superintendent Larry Snelling says they are leaning into what they've learned, especially 12 years ago when thousands marched in protest through the city street.
Chicago is a Democratic city. It's been like that for decades. They've had many mayors that has been Democrats, from Richard Daley on down. Like, we can just go on and on and on and on and on of mayors that's been Democrats. And the Democratic Party has constantly just spit in the face of the black community that's historically supported these guys. So now you have Fox News. You have Fox News coming out now, catering to the black community, shoving microphones in their faces. And this one lady, she came onto Fox News. She sounded like a slave, man. I mean, it just sounds ridiculous. I mean, she's saying that they're not going to vote Democrat this year. They're going to run over to the Republican Party. But what's the plan? What have you been promised? What is in writing? What is on paper? So she's on Fox News carrying on about the Republican Party and what she's going to do when she get over there. But black people, what is the plan? What is your economic, political plan for your community? What are you expecting the Republican Party to do for you that the Democratic Party didn't do? What are you expecting them to do? And this is the part that I don't like. Check this out.
Now to the migrant crisis in Chicago. Critics accuse the city of prioritizing migrants over citizens. Qatar Truss is a longtime Chicago resident and joins me now. Qatar, why are you going to vote Republican for the first time ever?
It's simple. The Democratic Party has failed us here in Chicago, our local government as well as our state government, and even our president has made our migrants a priority over American citizens. And so we have to stand up and we have to let them know that it is unacceptable. We have to let them know that you're not going to continue to depend on our vote. You know, Chicago is a Democratic stronghold, and we've been that way for years. And we are allowing our elected officials to mistreat us by continuing to support the Democratic Party. It is now time for us to stand up and to vote differently. I am excited about being able to vote Republican for the first time. I'm excited about the fact that I have a choice. I can exercise my right. Not only that, I can also bring others along and talk to people about voting differently, about giving the Democratic Party something to think about, letting them know that we're not going to just continue to go along and support a party that is not supporting us.
What do your friends and relatives say when you say to them, well, I'm going to vote Republican, you should too? What do they say to you?
You know, initially, people were looking at me a little sideways because they didn't understand. But as I began to talk to them about what is happening, as I began to remind them of how our communities have been disinvested in and how we went to City Hall when they talked about taking our park from us, and we tried to talk to the mayor about it. And when we went to City Hall to say that we wanted to end Chicago's sanctuary city status, and our elected officials practically ignored us. Our voices did not matter. No one stood up for us. No one stood with us. Well, and it was at that point that I realized that not only am I going to vote Republican, but we need to be having an honest conversation about where we stand here in Chicago as Black Americans with the Democratic Party.
So now, with all the pushback from the Black population of Chicago, Mayor Brandon Johnson has been feeling the heat, and they're talking about closing migrant shelters. They want to closing migrant shelters citywide. You know, a lot of these people came in, they had 60 days. Their 60 days are going to be up. But now what happens is if they can't transition into normal society, what happens with these people? They fall down by the wayside. They lay in the streets. Now we get desperation where people are willing to do anything to eat. This is what we're coming to. This is so now you have people laying out on the transit system, children laying out in the street. You're gonna have pandemonium in a city that's already out of control. This is a recipe for disaster. So Abbott sent a lot of them up to Chicago. The mayor's in over his head. He's powerless in what he can do. And now a lot of these migrants are going to be on the street. They're going to be on the street. You don't believe me? Check this out.
Tonight, thousands of migrants spending what could be their final weeks in shelters across Chicago as the city's eviction deadline looms. Like Lisbeth Velasquez, a Venezuelan migrant who says she fled due to political persecution 6 months ago and is now nearing the end of her 60-day limit in the city's shelters.
Dice que tengo fecha de salida para el 1 de abril. ¿Qué va a pasar si yo de aquí al 1 de abril yo no consigo una vivienda? Estoy trabajando, no tengo recursos económicos para pagar una vivienda.
Velasquez says she's navigating the asylum process, but that she won't be able to obtain a work permit until well after her eviction date, a crucial step in finding a place to live.
Te piden el contrato de trabajo, te piden el estado de cuenta, te piden unos requisitos que, o sea, actualmente yo no cuento con ninguno.
The limit put in place to provide temporary housing while migrants find work in homes before making room for newcomers.
Only one property manager that has maybe 1 or 2 landlords that wants to deal with this. You know, they want them to have work permits, a job, and proof of income.
Would you say the trouble getting work permits has been the largest hurdle for people looking for more permanent housing?
Without work permits and jobs, it's really impossible for people to find places to stay. In our group, we have like doctors, lawyers, teachers. They are really talented people, but they have no way to be certified here.
Advocates like Pastor Phelps are helping where they can, organizing English classes and clothing drives, but say it's unlikely everyone will be able to successfully transition out of shelters, instead needing to reapply for access to another shelter. More than 13,000 migrants are currently living in 27 shelters run by the city and the state, according to a census of new arrivals. Most of them have arrived since June 2023, part of the busing campaign by Texas Republican Governor Greg Abbott, who says he sent more than 100,000 migrants to sanctuary cities. It's costing Texas taxpayers $124 million, according to a public information request by our affiliate KXAN to the state's Division of Emergency Management tasked with the initiative. Chicago's mayor has extended the limit on shelter stays, delaying enforcement due to cold weather, sending notices like this to migrants in shelters, warning the earliest notices to leave will come in mid-March.
And if it couldn't get any crazier, we're being told now that damn near $300 million has been spent on the migrant crisis since the situation has been going down, and the number is rising. So $300 million in the city of Chicago spent on the migrant crisis. You know what they could have did for the homeless? You know what they could have did for low-income housing? What they could have done for the actual citizens of America, the people that live in the state of Illinois, the people that live in the city of Chicago. what they could have done. So they're showing you what they could have done, but they have another political agenda. Check this out.
New numbers in today on how much Chicago has spent on the migrant crisis. In total, nearly $300 million has been spent since October 2022. That does not include the cost incurred by other agencies like CPS, the Department of Streets and Sanitation, or Cook County Health. $206 million of that has gone to Kansas-based healthcare provider Favorite Healthcare Staffing to operate the city-run shelters, a group that has come under scrutiny by some aldermen who have said the city was paying them too much. There are currently more than 11,000 migrants in 23 shelters, and 4 more buses of migrants are expected to arrive in Chicago today.
So I would say this in closing. You can run over to the Republican Party, but you better have a plan. You better have a plan for what you want. It better be written down, because a lot of the black leaders in the black community are still going to go Democrat. They're going to sell you out. They've been selling you out. It's just that a lot of people are starting to really pay attention now. A lot of people are starting to not watch the stories during the daytime or be all on your phone and all on social media. They're paying attention to real life issues. And you're starting to see that people that look like you, that wore suits, that went to school, that talked articulate, they've been your sellouts. They've been your sellouts. They've been the spokesman for the dominant society. They've been selling you down the river for many years. And now it's time for you to be smart and take a cerebral approach. That woman that went on to Fox News, she don't represent us. What is the comprehensive plan that we got for the black community? You just going to tell black people to vote Republican for what? For what? We don't have a great history with Republicans. If you go back 100 years ago when our people was voting Republican, we had to form the Black Republican Party because they didn't want us to be a part of it. They was just as racist as the Democrats. Y'all better study history. They've never been our friends. Dr. John Henry Clark told us we have no friends in this fight. None. We got to figure this out on our own. We got to have our own agenda, hold our own, you know what, and start to make things happen, man. So I don't want to hear nobody saying, hey, I'm not voting Democrat, I'm voting Republican without a plan. What is your plan? They know that black people do everything out of emotion and trauma. You don't sit back and scheme together a plan and a plot and to a provocative plan to make it work in your favor. But you better start. I want to hear black people on social media start talking about the plan. Tariq Nasheed, what is the plan? Black Authority, what is the plan? New Black Media, what is the plan other than saying you FBA and saying that you need tangible reparations? What is the actual plan to get this executed? That's what I want to know. But I'm going to cut this video short here. Like, subscribe, and share it to Street Media TV. Leave your comments in the comment section. Let me know what you guys think, man. Remember, I love y'all. Till the next time. Peace.